Welcome to the Capital Region Education Council's 46th Annual Fall Staff. Please stand for the singing of the National Anthem. The National Anthem is performed by Millie Mueller, teacher at CREC's International Magnet School for Global Citizenship.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Are you ready?
Let him do the intro.
Test.
And now, back from their trip to the wilderness of the Colorado Mountains, please welcome this year's Fall Staff Masters of Ceremony, Deborah Barrero, Director of School Choice Programs, and Thomas Brudnitsky, Assistant Principal of the CREC Medical Professions and Teacher Preparation Academy.
Wow, Tom, what a great trip we had in Colorado. I really enjoyed our time with those CREC kids from the Capital Region Interdistrict Leadership Academy. I loved watching them climb the mountains, do those high ropes courses. CREC is just one of those great programs, another one of the great programs CREC has to serve the children and families of Hartford.
You're absolutely right, Deb. The 9th year of CREC was fantastic, and I look forward to working with the students throughout the year. It will be nice to unpack this stuff and air out this tent before we gear up for the school year.
Oh, my goodness, Tom. Did you really wear the man-prees that Bruce hates?
I don't know. Deb, climbing the mountains is all about comfort. Take it, honestly, feel these things.
I'm not touching
Feel
you.
them. Seriously? All right. So,
they look great.
Working at CREC, though, is kind of like climbing the mountains of Colorado. We're always looking to reach new heights, pushing ourselves a little farther, and exploring horizons of possibilities. It seems like we just keep growing, but we never quite reach the peak of what we're capable of.
Never at CREC do we finish reaching the peak. And you know what? I was just thinking when I was in Colorado, how much CREC has grown since I've been here in the last 2 years, and how many great people I met there, and how many more people I need to meet. And then I show up here, and I'm like, oh my God, there's a lot more people to meet.
I know. Deb, this audience is huge.
It is huge.
Oh,
and you know what, though? I bet Sandy and Douglas Henley are so psyched that they don't have to fit all these people at CREC Central. There's not a space, there's not an office, there's not a closet. That's empty over there.
Hey, Ed. Hey, Reggie. Holy cow.
What is that?
Yeah,
what do you have?
Yeah, we know what you mean. We've been cleaning out the basement at CREC Central. We don't have any room. So much of this stuff is like 4 decades old.
Yeah, we got Fall Staff 46. CREC's almost 50 years old now.
Wow, almost 50 years old. That's amazing.
Hey, what?
Oh, heavy.
Is it heavy? Oh, let me get out of your way.
Okay.
What is this stuff?
Hey,
I know, Deb, some of this looks neat. I know we got to pack that stuff as we gear up for the school year, but do you think we could look through this?
Well, you know we're leaving that at CREC Central, right? Because we're storing that for another year, so you don't mind, right?
Do you mind if we look through this, Reggie?
We don't mind.
You don't mind? Okay,
right,
cool.
great.
Thanks, guys.
Sure, but we got to get back to work.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
Open our schools. Thanks, helping
Thanks,
us.
Ed. Thanks, Reggie. Appreciate it. Deb, let's take a look at some of this
there's
stuff.
some cool stuff here. What do we got here?
Oh, geez. Look at this thing. Is that an old cell phone?
I think so.
Holy cow. It says Frank Para on it. I met Frank probably over 10 years ago when I started working at CREC at MLC.
Oh, is that when they took that picture of you that's on Outlook now that we all can see?
That might be my 8th grade graduation
Yeah,
picture.
you look quite
I'm going to
young.
put that back for him.
Okay. Oh, wow, what's else in here?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, I remember this.
I'm surprised this is still
Let's
in
pull
here.
that out. Let's
There.
pull that out.
I'll let you take a look at that.
Oh, do you guys remember this? Who am I?
Oh, Lord Vader. You were Bruce Douglas as Lord Vader.
Even though it was a Star Trek theme?
Yeah, I never really did understand how they picked Bruce to be Darth Vader from Star Wars during a Star Trek themed FallStaff.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Let's blame it on his handlers. Let's blame it on the handlers.
I'm sure it wasn't Bruce's fault.
No.
All right.
What else do we got?
Holy, is this an iPod? No. Oh, it's all twisted up. This looks like some old audiological equipment from Soundbridge.
Wow.
Take a look at that.
This is so cool. Did you know that Soundbridge is one of CREC's oldest programs? It started in the 1960s.
1966.
Yeah, 1966.
Yeah.
Isn't that amazing? Why don't we learn a little bit more about
I'll look at a
Soundbridge?
video about Soundbridge.
In 1966, a group of parents joined together with the common goal of providing their hearing-impaired children with equal access to spoken language and quality education in public schools. Shortly after, the Capital Region Education Council adopted the program now known as Soundbridge as its first special education service provided to school districts.
There weren't that many kids. There were 5 to start. It's a very low incidence, high cost program, tailor-made for cooperation among school districts. It's something they cannot do on their own, but can do if they work together. One of the major CREC abilities is to get people to work together, to share their resources.
Soundbridge was in the Stillman School when I first came to CREC, and Stillman was a Wethersfield public school, a school from the turn of the century. So it had its pluses and minuses.
We had about maybe 100, 150 students at that point. I taught at Hanmer Elementary School, and my first classroom was in a shower locker room. We had our academy program, and we had a very small birth to 3 program. We only had 2 audiologists, so we did not have the wealth of audiological services that we have now.
When I came to CREC, Jenny Hume was the director. She was the kind of leader who had the passion for what she did and knew how to move her organization forward. I was part of the development of Soundbridge, the new facility. Jennifer took a great lead in that, and of course that facility allowed Soundbridge to do many more things, such as expand their preschool operations, be a professional development center, and of course is very heavily involved in the Birth to 3 program.
We try to be very dynamic, change to meet the demands, and we serve more students within their home districts. Over 93% of students are served in district, and we serve over 600 students now.
Soundbridge does God's work. As I've said on numerous occasions, I can only imagine, the conversation that goes on between parents when they find out that their child has a hearing impairment and all of the concerns that they have about the child as they're growing up. Then their child goes to Soundbridge and finds a way to communicate in such a way that all of the doors will be open for them. There's no greater gift, that you can give to a child.
It's fun now to start seeing adults who are coming back that we had as children, and to see them doing well and being successful in whatever they chose to do. It's exciting.
Please welcome to the stage CREC's Executive Director, Bruce Douglas. Also joining us on the stage, please welcome students from the Arts Academy to make a special presentation to Bruce Douglas.
Hi, Dr. Douglas, and we are singers from the Real Ambassadors Jazz Choir from the Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts, and we just want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for your support, and this is just a token of our appreciation from Windsor Castle and from the Olympic Park. So thank you so much.
I don't know if you're aware of it, but our students who participated in the Real Ambassadors were CREC's representatives to the Olympics, and they got a gold medal in jazz concert singing. Okay. Outstanding. So welcome, everyone. Welcome to the 46th Annual CREC FallStaff. Today, when I speak, I'm going to be spending most of my time thanking people. You know, there's so many people to thank. When I look across the spectrum of everyone here, I remember just a few years ago we were meeting at a little joint down the road called the Chowder Pot, okay, and all of CREC could fit into that. Yesterday when I walked in here and I looked at all of the chairs, you know, I thought I was at the Republican National Convention. And so I thought I wouldn't attend today, but then someone reminded me that, you know. I have to remember not to speak extemporaneously today, okay? All right, very good. All right, so first and foremost, I want to begin by thanking all of the vendors who are out there, okay? They're all partners of CREC. You need to know that doing FallStaff is an expensive venture, and our partners pay for the whole venture. Okay? This does not cost the children and families in the capital region anything. I would also like all of you who are here today who are new teachers and new staff, if you would please rise to be recognized. Please rise if you're a new teacher, new staff. Congratulations on embarking on a great career, okay? There's no better service than there is to children and families. We are here to support you in everything that you do. Don't hesitate to ask for help, and please offer suggestions so that we can be better tomorrow than we are today. I also am going to thank now and again later on, but I want to thank Aura Alvarado, Julia Case, Jessica Saunders, and Ty Smith, and others who put this FallStaff together. This is a remarkable achievement of coordination and organization, so I want to thank you all. You did a superb job. We have here with us today representatives from the CREC Council, our governance committee. We have here with us today Jill Notar-Francesco from the Southington Board of Education, Terry Schmid, Vice President of the West Hartford Board of Education, Chris Wilson, Secretary-Treasurer of the Bristol Board of Education, John Richards from the Berlin Board of Education, and Lydia Todone from the Simsbury Board of Education. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we have some birthdays to celebrate. Yesterday, Mark Alessandro from PSA celebrated his birthday. Jeanette Davis from IMS celebrated her birthday. Francine Gintoff celebrated her birthday from the Arts Academy. Michael Gonzalez from Medical Professions and Teacher Prep celebrated his birthday. Elizabeth Saunders celebrated her birthday. Sarah Seals from Two Rivers celebrated her birthday. And Heidi Turgeon, a former student of mine who constantly misbehaved in the 7th grade, celebrated her birthday at MLC. And enjoying their birthdays today are Tiffany Conway, Carolyn Hogan from Reggio, Tina Miro from Museum Academy, and Timothy Perkowski from MLC. Happy birthday, all of you. And tomorrow, and that's where I'm going to stop, Sharon Mabey from IMS has her birthday. April Reynolds from Transportation has her birthday. And Juana Robles from the Museum Academy has her birthday. Happy birthday to all of you. FallStaff is a celebration. Right now, at CREC, we're famous for accomplishing remarkable achievements and then moving on to the next thing very quickly. Sometimes it's not until a week or two later that I realized that something was accomplished that was quite remarkable, that it dawned on me that it was remarkable, and we didn't celebrate it. We moved on. So at CREC, we're allowed to celebrate achievement for about 30 seconds. All right? So during the next few hours, this is the 30 seconds for all of the achievements that you're about to engage in this year. Congratulations, right? Celebrate now, right? Okay. But today we celebrate that which makes this agency truly great. It's all of you. CREC staff, CREC teachers, CREC leadership, and the CREC Council. There's not a week that goes by without meeting a truly remarkable and inspirational member of the CREC organization. In our central office, in our schools, and throughout our many programs and service arms, there are just remarkable people. You challenge me to be better every day. I look across this room and clearly worry if I belong in this room or not. And you ensure that the agency is always moving in the right direction, overcoming the next challenge, setting the bar higher by serving the best interests of children and families throughout the capital region. Today, we celebrate how CREC has gotten where we are today. The theme of FallStaff is grassroots to growth. It's about recognizing that our agency stands on the shoulders of giants, many of whom are with us here in this room today. And we celebrate that our mission and culture enables us to encourage us to lean on one another. Each of us is fortunate to have a giant all around us. Take the time to acknowledge one another's accomplishments this year, to thank one another, and most of all, to laugh with one another. In addition to standing on the shoulders of giants, of the great people who have come before us and who continue to make this agency strong, we have always stood on the shoulders of the CREC Council. The Council has been our guidance and our support system for many years. It is through their leadership that we set our direction of the agency, and we are grateful for their commitment that they show to the students and families of the Hartford region. I would like first to start by thanking John Hambrook, the outgoing CREC Council president who served us so well last year. John is a remarkable man, Boy Scout leader, and first-rate dentist. I'm going to introduce now Jill Notar-Francesco. Jill Notar-Francesco is the current chair of the CREC Council and has been one of the people that CREC relies on for her counsel and leadership. Jill was elected to the Southington Board of Education in November of 2007 and is currently serving her third term. Besides holding the current chairmanship of our CREC Council, she is the chair of the Southington Board of Education's Finance Committee. She's the vice chair of the town's Self-Insurance Committee and a member of the Curriculum and Instruction Committee and Education Capital Bonding Committee. While raising her two daughters, she worked as a substitute teacher with the Southington Board of Education and for a number of years was engaged in leadership positions within the parent-teacher organization at all levels. On several occasions, she has been recognized within the Southington community for outstanding community service and volunteerism for children and excellence in education. I am pleased to introduce my friend and colleague, Jill Notar-Francesco.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Douglas, and good morning to everyone. My thanks to the CREC Council for the opportunity to serve this organization as chairperson and represent your work. Thanks and appreciation to those council members who are in attendance this morning. I am privileged to stand before you, the entire mighty membership of staff of people greatly committed to children and the strength of the Capital Region Education Council. Having served for the last 5 years as a member of the Southington Board of Education and CREC Council, I continue with amazement to learn about the depth of services offered to districts by CREC, and about the diversity and dedication of this very talented workforce. You influence and challenge all around you to become better and stronger in their work for children and communities. During my 5 years on the Council, I have seen CREC experience incredibly stunning growth, yet still be very well positioned for continued success. This does not happen by chance or coincidence. Only exceptional leadership and a very inspired collective effort moved this organization to this extraordinary place. CREC represents a respected, powerful learning system fueled by results, creativity, and a richness of resources. Within my own district, CREC's work, your work, is viewed as the gold standard. It has been my great pleasure to meet many of you over the last few years, and it is clearly evident that you are driven by a compelling cause. You are shaping the future for children and for us all. This is truly great and mighty responsibility. Education, as we know it, is the escape from poverty, and it is the way to improve lives. We understand that raising achievement for all students, suburban and urban, will ultimately lift us all. And CREC magnet schools have proudly demonstrated that achievement is possible for all. Despite diverse enrollment within the magnet schools, CREC's public report card, measured by CAPT and CMT, is strong and speaks to your dedication and solid work. CREC schools provide an environment that embraces every child's uniqueness and background and enables them to thrive. Members of our council representing the 35 districts of boards of education talk often about the greater challenges that lie ahead. This year's healthy list of legislative changes in education tests the comfort level of even the most aggressive advocates of change. As our districts tackle the demands of reform, we will continue to lean heavily upon CREC to help us navigate the changes. We are always confident that CREC will help and will do it well. Realize just how important the work you do really is. I remain hopeful and cautiously optimistic that many of the changes underway, difficult as they may be, will ultimately be for the good. I extend the Council's thanks and appreciation to Dr. Bruce Douglas and his extraordinary cabinet and senior leadership management team. They have continuously demonstrated exceptional leadership of this organization. Whatever your role within the many CREC divisions, the Council recognizes and celebrates the talents and passion that you bring to your profession. To those at CREC Central, in every division and in every school building, the Council greatly values you and supports you in your work. I encourage you to stay positive in this work and revel in your success and outstanding reputation. Continue to connect with children through effective teaching and mentoring, and I encourage you to experience a renewed enthusiasm for the work with excellence as your benchmark. I look forward to a rewarding year ahead and meeting so many more of you to share a word of thanks for all you do. On behalf of the CREC Council, best wishes for an extraordinary year.
I want want to thank Jill for her kind words and extraordinary leadership, as well as all of the members of the CREC Council. Members of the CREC Council are there to serve us and help us and to lead us when we need them, and they have undaunting courage, and they're there for whenever we need them. So I look forward to working with them this year, and I look forward to all of us embracing them, giving them the opportunity to visit our programs. Thank you, Jill.
Tom, what are you doing? We're supposed to unpack our stuff.
Deb, you see all the neat stuff over here?
Yeah. You see all the work we have?
The school doesn't start till Wednesday.
Oh, plenty of time.
Get over here. Look at this stuff.
What else do we have in here?
Ooh, this looks old.
Oh, this is old. It's about the Arts Academy when they first opened in 1986.
Holy
wow.
Cow. Did you know
Amazing.
that the Arts Academy is our oldest magnet school?
No, I didn't realize that.
You didn't realize that?
Wow,
Yeah.
look at all these programs. They must have had 100 shows since then.
Yeah. It's our oldest magnet school. And do you know that, well, next Wednesday, CREC's opening 3 new magnet schools?
I know that all too well.
We've got 2 Rivers High School coming on board, and then the Arts Academy is opening their middle school and an Arts Academy elementary school.
Excellent. I am so proud that we are able to provide excellence in education to so many students in the greater Hartford area in our magnet schools. And did you know that this is going to be our first pathway school for the Arts Academy, where kids can go to school from pre-K3 to 12th grade? Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. The Arts Academy really is an amazing place. You know, back in the 80s, it laid the foundation for CREC's 18 outstanding magnet schools today. Let's take a look at a video that highlights some of that history.
Great.
The Capital Region Education Council saw tremendous growth during the 1980s. In 1985, CREC opened the Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts, its first magnet school. This marked an important moment, laying the groundwork for CREC's expansion into the development of magnet schools throughout the Greater Hartford area.
At that time, there were only 2 interdistrict magnet schools. We were the oldest, starting in 85, and the East Hartford Glastonbury magnet was the second one. We were the only ones. So it was a very intimate relationship. We were in the old funeral parlor.
It was hard for people to envision that a funeral parlor was going to be the start of a Greater Hartford Academy of Performing Arts.
In the early years, it was a struggle to start these schools. I mean, funding was low. We, I think, very wisely brought together superintendents from districts to be part of the planning teams to design these schools. So they were a partnership of CREC with surrounding districts to provide a means to desegregate our very segregated school system. Magnet schools were seen as the cutting-edge way of doing this on a voluntary basis.
Back in '85, it was very small. That was the thing. We had I think there might have been 20 kids in the music department. We didn't have many students, but the ideals that we had, I think, were very similar. We wanted them to master their art form. At first, it was a kind of a well-kept secret that I don't think a lot of towns heard about. And then as they heard about it, we started getting more students from other suburbs.
We moved, of course, during my tenure to the Learning Corridor and became sort of the anchor tenant there.
It was wonderful. And we were scared to death because we were worried about losing the intimacy, the family relationship that we had in the funeral parlor.
We gained a lot in terms of the facility and opportunities for diversifying the curriculum, but we lost a little bit of the intimacy that the school had in that funeral parlor. And that's always, you know, the give and take.
I've watched the Academy go through some major change. My vision for it when I first started, and it was small, was to bring them to the point where our students were competitive for the major college programs.
And then Herb Shepard was the principal at the time. He was mandated with the task of creating a full-day program.
I feel as if the Arts Academy has gone from a program to an institution. We're now a school. We're really a school, and we have hundreds of students, and our kids are doing amazing things. Our arms have gotten so much bigger.
The Arts Academy is one of the flagships of the CREC magnet schools. The kids there are absolutely marvelous. I met with the seniors the other day, and I asked them about what are they taking away from this school. And they talked about fortitude, they talked about strength of character, they talked about self-discipline. Those were all of the important attributes that we were looking for our students to gain at that school and go forward, in life with.
CREC and its wisdom has done everything it can to create a K-12 arts community. If we can tie the arts in for those kids that have that passion and have them make a connection when they're younger, it only bodes well for them when they're in high school. As a middle school principal, I dedicated my life to preparing kids for high school. I look forward to the opportunity of having my colleagues prepare them for our experience.
Building on the success of our previous years, we've had one of the most successful years in the history of CREC. Last year, we added 2,000 new students across all of CREC's programs, and 1,000 of those students were added to the testing list that would be required under the Connecticut Achievement Assessments, the CMT and the CAP test. CREC magnet schools outperformed the state on the CMT and CAP in virtually all areas and virtually all groups of children. In CREC magnet schools, there is no achievement gap between African American, Hispanic, and white students in either math or reading in the 5th grade. Moreover, not only did 100% of the Hispanic students in the 5th grade district-wide achieve the proficiency mark, but 95% of the Hispanic students reached the goal mark in reading and math. CREC magnet schools have demonstrated that racially and economically integrated schools can guarantee an equitable and high achievement for all children. This is because of your hard work. This is what is supposed to be happening in all American schools, and this is what is happening in CREC schools now. Furthermore, CREC student services programs continue to raise the bar. CREC Soundbridge, the Farmington Valley Diagnostics Center, River Street School, the John Allison Polaris Center, CREC Birth to 3 programs, and the Juvenile Detention Center continue to make tremendous gains in the development of the skills and life skills for independence for our students with the most significant learning challenges. I want to express my heartfelt appreciation to each and every one of you in this room for the major educational achievements that you've helped us achieve this year. As you know, last year, the legislature passed a major education reform package, which will bring about significant changes in schools throughout the state. I am proud, because of you, that CREC has already adopted many of those reforms in previous years. At Tuesday's back-to-school meeting, Governor Malloy emphasized to the superintendents the education reform package doesn't reform education in and of itself, but only begins the process of reform. In the wake of these major policy reforms, the demands on districts, schools, and teachers are going to be higher than ever before, and we are up for them. Recently, CREC's divisions and programs developed a comprehensive document that describes how CREC is prepared and poised to respond to the request by the Governor and the Commissioner of Education to support widespread and dramatic change. This document, entitled Responding to the Call, is a sign of where we are and what is to come, and it will be made available to everyone at CREC. CREC has already responded to the call to support many changes in the teacher and administrative evaluation system. When the state asked, CREC stepped up to both serve as a pilot district, to organize training for school districts, and to serve as the fiscal manager for this project statewide. CREC is capable of many great things. As an agency, we are stronger and more capable than we have ever been before. During the upcoming years, as we have in the past, we must step up to offer our help and expertise and to provide our colleagues and our partners, our constituents and our clients with solutions. We must continue to respond to the call to action of our partnering school districts and the state. We know this is going to be a very big year and in the next decade going forward. We're grateful to have with us today the governor of the state of Connecticut. His participation today shows that you are highly valued, that he recognizes CREC staff and teachers as hardworking, great people who are intensely committed to eliminating the achievement gap and any deficits for our children throughout all of Connecticut and globally. During the governor's campaign and throughout his tenure as governor, Daniel Malloy has remained dedicated to closing the achievement gap and improving education in the state of Connecticut. We are lucky to have a governor who recognizes the importance of education in ensuring Connecticut's long-term economic and social success. We look forward to our continued partnership with Governor Malloy. I just want to say to you, the other day when he was speaking to the superintendents, I watched him very, very carefully. And I was watching him because I was wondering if he would be a good CREC employee. He did a remarkable job. The man was intensely committed. He was very intelligent and had tremendous potential. So I leaned over to my colleague and I said, "How much longer is this term?" And she said, 2 more years. So Governor, if you're not rehired, please come to CREC. Thank you.
Nice to be with you. Hey, great. Great to know I have a place to go. Hey, it's great to be with you all. Actually, the way the lighting works, I can't actually see too deep into the room, but standing at the side, recognizing that I was with this many people who are so firmly committed to their profession and the children of the state of Connecticut is a tremendous honor. And so I really do. I do hope that you all feel the pride that you deserve to feel, the hopeful attitudes that you're displaying here today indicate that you do. You know, we have this mission in our lives, you and I. Now, my mother would frequently say to me, "Daniel, you have an obligation to leave the world a better place for your having lived in it." She didn't say how I should do that. She didn't say in what profession I should do that, or that it would be done in the public side or the private side or some other side. She simply said almost every day that we shared the earth together, to me and to all of her children, you have an obligation to leave the world a better place for your having lived in it. What better profession, what better way to live that credo than to decide at some point earlier in your life or perhaps even later in your life that you are going to become a teacher or an administrator or a staff person in the educative process of our next generation. In so many ways, whether you love your job or you get mad at somebody who's working or teaching in the room next to you, this is your calling. This is your opportunity to impact as broadly as you possibly can the next generation. Sure, it's limited to CREC, or it's limited to the building you work in, or it's limited to the classroom in which you teach. But this opportunity, if you believe in God, is God-given. And if you don't believe in God, is the moral equivalent of your commitment to see that the next generation is raised up at least as well as you are. Now listen, we can't deny that we have failed some of our cities. We cannot deny that we have failed some of our children. And unfortunately, we can draw very distinct lines around communities or races or wealth where we know as a society we simply tolerated a lack of success that we would not possibly have tolerated if it was simply for our own children. Now, I'm not Pollyanna about it. I understand that there are tremendous problems in society, some of which we will never, ever, ever overcome. But that's not an excuse for ever giving up on any group in our society, defined by race or wealth or geography or any other way you could define it. People ask me, why am I doing this? I've ruffled so many feathers. I've created so many enemies. Listen, we've done the hard part. We came to a consensus about what we as a state need to do to get to the next level, the level that many other states and your own organization have been working at for many years. We have now in place a system of self-improvement and analysis, and we're following it up with millions of additional dollars to support doing what we know works. As I said to the superintendents, as was referenced by Bruce, we know what works. Every district in the state has a school in it that is doing a better job of achieving a higher level, educating deeper into the student body than other schools in that district or that organization. So what we need to do, and you're doing it, I know, but what we need to do as a society is say, okay, if that's the case, how do we make every other school, every other system, every other classroom as good as it possibly can be? So as I said, when I looked from the side view, when I'm not blocked by the lights, and I see the depth and the commitment and the understanding to the next generation, I got to tell you, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. So this is a convocation where we come together and we get our charge and we get charged up. This is the beginning of the school year where we know that there are no current limitations on what we can accomplish. This is the beginning for children in their own school year and the beginning of change that can have a far-lasting impact. Every child we save, every child we well-educate, every child we turn around, every family we strengthen does not speak simply to a single generation, but to generations to come. We need to be in this. We need to be in it together. And that's why my administration is spending the kind of money we are in a difficult economic climate where we've had the slowest growth for 5 or 6 years than we could possibly have reasonably predicted, and yet we're finding a way to get the job done. And we're doing it because of people like you. So have a great day, have a great school year, and if no one has said it, and I hope my words heretofore have, but if no one has said it before, thank you for what you do, and God bless you all. Thank you.
See, wasn't I right? Wouldn't he make a great social studies teacher? Outstanding, outstanding, remarkable, inspirational. Thank you, Governor. CREC has a long history of working closely with the Connecticut State Department of Education. Stephen Pryor, Connecticut's Commissioner of Education, arrived in Connecticut with the intention of elevating the education profession in our state. He emphasized that doing so would mean doing a far better job of preparing, attracting, developing, evaluating, coaching, recognizing, rewarding, and advancing the quality of teachers and leaders throughout the school systems of Connecticut. I believe CREC's cadre of teachers, staff, and administrators are among the most capable in Connecticut, and in fact, the most capable in the United States. CREC's student achievement results are evidence of the impact that a positive teaching and learning environment can make. This is a kind of educational environment that Commissioner Pryor seeks for all students teachers, and schools in Connecticut. We're grateful to have Commissioner Pryor here with us today. Connecticut is fortunate to have him as our commissioner, and he's an impassioned person about improving student outcomes and who is dedicated to working with local partners and stakeholders to ensure the work is done expeditiously, with diligence and commitment. Education is an emergency. We all know that. And we must approach it with a sense of urgency, and this commissioner does. Please welcome Commissioner of Education, Stephen Pryor. Stephen?
Good morning. I'm so pleased to be before you today, and I thank Bruce for his terrific leadership and for his very, very kind introduction, his exaggerated introduction. So let me start with the point that you made regarding the governor and whether he would fit as a CREC employee. You have done a phenomenal job of attracting talent. Look at this room of able individuals who are dedicated to the task, but the governor, we need him. So I'm going to block that for the moment, but I thank you for the leadership that you are exhibiting yourselves within CREC. Come various transitions in political leadership, come various transitions in reform, CREC has persevered and has really innovated and shown the way on so many fronts. And we are deeply grateful. CREC has been a remarkable partner to us at the revitalized State Department of Education under our new team, which is still only 10 months in. Bruce has been available at every turn, the first to volunteer, the first to generate an idea. So we're truly grateful. Now seeing you all here and having witnessed this collaboration, I now understand what CREC is. I have to admit, when I first heard the term CREC, I thought it might be related to the movie Shrek. I thought it might have been a Vulcan greeting on Star Trek. I wasn't sure. And the fact that you all have created a true model school system that is making such enormous progress is deeply gratifying. Let me talk to you a little bit about what this school year means and what the coming years mean to us. You may have heard that we passed an itty-bitty bill through the legislature on education reform. And truly, CREC was highly informative and inspiring in terms of creating a number of the initiatives. But that bill, now that it's law, is only as good as the paper it's on until it's realized through your actions, through your continued committed work, by showing the way through CREC and the other school systems of this region. And I want to talk to you a little bit about how, now that there's been contention, there's been some battle, there's been some debate, which is healthy, which is how great ideas come about. Now that there's consensus and we're moving forward, what does it mean to engage in this round of education reform and to move our system forward? What I propose is that we, in the implementation phase, go about it the Connecticut way. Let me talk to you about what I mean by the Connecticut way, because it really is informed by the CREC way. On the evaluation front, you know that there was a Performance Evaluation Advisory Council that fleshed out the parameters for, the guidelines for, and then the model for teacher and leader evaluation. Dr. Bruce Douglas served on the Peak Committee and was one of its most energetic and animated participants who really helped to shape the process as a whole. And as you've heard from Bruce, CREC not only served as an intermediary, as a fiduciary. Of course, you all are serving as a model district, and we're deeply, deeply grateful for that, because you are quite significantly participating once again, and you're leading the way. What does our evaluation consist of? There's all kinds of parameters. I'm sure you've read the percentages. You've read the proposed surveys. You've thought about the complexities. But at the heart of the system, we've chosen to go about it the Connecticut way. And how have we done that? At the heart of the system is a goal-setting process between teacher and supervisor, between the instructor in the classroom and the evaluator. And goals are to be set jointly. There's to be a collaborative process. And the dialogue that fosters is aimed at imbuing the entirety of our new evaluation system. That is the Connecticut way. Will that make headlines? No. That's not the kind of, if you will, sexy, reform-oriented, headline-grabbing reform, but you know that it matters because the reality is at the center of the entire process is the teacher in the classroom, and that relationship between teacher and evaluator as to how to improve practice and performance is what it's all about. So this brings me to another point about evaluation. What else is it about? It's not evaluation for the sake of gotcha. It's not evaluation for the purpose purely of consequences or of making some kind of a statement about how tough we are as a state, or in your instance, as a regional district. What the evaluation system is about is providing evaluation-informed professional development and support that, as I just stated, helps the teacher to elevate her or his practice. That is what we mean when we say the Connecticut way. So that teacher-evaluator relationship, that transition from evaluation data and feedback to improved practice, that's what the whole system is about. The rest is really detail. We need to get it right. But let's prove to the rest of the country that this is the method through which Connecticut gets the job done. You may have heard about the fact that we are pursuing the turnaround of low-performing schools throughout our state. For too long, the state has sat on the sidelines as others have endeavored valiantly to turn around schools that these may have been low-performing for decades at this point, and under whatever standards you choose, NCLB or otherwise, for years has been failing to make its annual progress. The state is stepping up. We've decided to create something we call the Commissioners Network, where there's an opportunity for a district to volunteer a school or for the state to identify a school actively and to engage in a turnaround. That works by bringing all the stakeholders and constituencies together to form a plan and then to pursue it. Rules can be flexed, resources can be deployed. It basically provides for the maximum amount of nimbleness and ability to collaborate in order to proceed. 4 schools stepped up this year, one of them right in this region. Here in Hartford, the Milner School is going to become a Commissioners Network school in collaboration with a charter school, the Jamoki Academy, which is going to work with that conventional public school with its conditions, its challenges, and its opportunities to move it forward. In New Haven, high school in the community, a low-performing school, is going to be taken over by, in effect, operated by the teachers' union itself. The New Haven Federation of Teachers is going to step up and operate that school. It's going to be a teacher-run school, and they're going to attempt to turn around. We pursue a diversity of models, all aimed at the same goal. We're agnostic as to the operator. We are absolutely focused on the objective of improving student learning. That is the Connecticut way. Let me talk to you about one other area that's very important, especially in this region. Some would say that the challenges of working on a regional basis and coordinating across the town lines and the district lines and achieving the kind of partnerships and progress that we all aim for on a regional basis is impossible. But here at CREC, you have proven that we can, on a regional basis, achieve both quality and diversity in public education and do so successfully. And what did I hear about the 5th grade? You all are closing the achievement gap. Quality and diversity in pursuit of improved student achievement and the closure of the gap, that is the Connecticut way. So I'm so proud to be part of your process, and I'm thankful to Bruce Douglas and Denise Gallucci and the entire CREC team for your truly exemplary work. And the reason it's getting done is because all of you are getting it done. Keep up the great work, and we'll be back to draw from your best practices and spread them throughout the state, in fact, across the land. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner. As you can see, he's committed, He's dedicated to the agenda. Just to let you know that he's an affable individual, he's an approachable individual, he listens. He follows the mode of leadership that we have here at CREC, and that he's a servant leader. He's there to facilitate the good works that our school districts are about to accomplish. Thank you all so much.
Now joining Bruce on stage for the presentation of the Distinguished Service Award is CREC's Director of Operations, Sandy Cruz Serrano, joined by CREC's Director of Student Services, Deborah Richards. Thank you.
Good morning. I have to admit, when I looked at the program and I realized I had the honor of following the commissioner and the governor, I said, that's an interesting position to be. But thankfully, I have an equally important task to announce to you today. I have the honor of introducing CREC's Distinguished Service Award nominees for this year. The Distinguished Service Award recognizes CREC employees for a variety of reasons who have exemplified what it is to be an outstanding CREC employee. These employees demonstrate performance that goes beyond the call of duty on a regular basis. They have been nominated by their peers because they establish and maintain effective working relationships. They work cooperatively in supporting others in achieving the goals and objectives for the year. They value the differences and the diversity of all the people they work with. And they exhibit the drive to develop the skills and abilities needed for both the organization and for themselves. These unique individuals demonstrate a positive outlook and always represent CREC in a professional manner. They contribute to the goals of CREC and to their individual programs. They participate in CREC-sponsored activities that demonstrates our collective commitment to all. Each year, we're honored to receive many, many nominees of fantastic employees for this award. As we hear their names called and they join us up on stage to receive their nomination gift, I'm asking all of you to appreciate the true value of these outstanding employees. Please join me in celebrating our Distinguished Service Award nominees for this year. Thank you.
The 2012 Distinguished Service Award nominees: Sandra Garcia, Greater Hartford Academy of Math and Science; Douglas Henley, Facilities; Reagan Bishop, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts; Elaine Carroll, Soundbridge; Donna Heim, Transition to Employment Services; Judith Mott, Two Rivers Magnet Middle School; Maria McQueenie, Soundbridge; Latanya Pabe, Montessori Magnet School; Carissa Benavides, International Magnet School for Global Citizenship; Cara Gomand, University of Hartford Magnet School; Chris Ramrup, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts; Lillian Missy Boyd, Glastonbury East Hartford Elementary Magnet School; Dana Gansey, Reggio Magnet School of the Arts. The 2012 Distinguished Service Award nominees:
Congratulations to all our nominees, and thank you for all the great work you do for CREC, for our families, for our children, and for our districts. And now, the 2012 Distinguished Service Award winner is, from the Academy of Aerospace and Engineering High School, Sandra Garcia.
When I started as a principal in August here at the CREC, Sandra spent 2 weekends with me just helping me come up to speed. She just wanted me to have the information so that I could be prepared for the beginning of the school year. I thought that was a wonderful, wonderful quality in her. She will do anything for anybody. She gets the job done.
Anytime you ask Sandra for help, she's there to help and support. And it's like you're the only person around at that moment, which is a really unique quality for anybody to have, especially somebody in a pressure job like she has, with people coming at her from all areas of the school.
It's amazing to me that Sandra is able to monitor and keep track of all of her responsibilities. We have the Academy of Aerospace and Engineering, we have the Greater Hartford Academy of Math and Science, and then we have the Academy of Aerospace and Engineering Middle School in Bloomfield. Sandra is responsible for all three of the programs, along with all the personalities, all the students and parents.
In physics, one of the things that we talk about is a lever, and the lever gets a lot of attention because you can lift a very heavy weight, you can make things move. It's a very impressive demonstration. But the part of the lever system that doesn't get the attention is the fulcrum, the part that the lever balances off of. And yet without that, nothing would happen. And that's really what Sandra is. She's in her office, she's very unassuming, she's very quiet, but nothing happens in this school without her involvement.
I found that it was just, I can just walk into the office and just talk to her about anything. There's always going to be something that you don't know or something that you don't understand. And to have somebody that you can go to makes it that so much easier. You know, there's always time for her to stop what she's doing and to listen to what you have to say and to help you if she can. If she can't help you, she always knows who can.
Every day I come in with a smile. This is the best way, I think, to start your day off. When I do come in to my office, there's usually a line of folks outside of my office waiting. When dealing with anyone, you always want to give your 100% to that person. I feel like that about dealing with parents, dealing with students. You always have to give your 100% to that parent so that they know that you're trying everything, or that faculty member that comes by and says, you know, I have this crisis happening right now. Give them your 100%, and they will know that you've given them that.
Congratulations, Sandra.
That's so funny.
Settle down now. Again, congratulations to Sandra and to the Academy of Aerospace and Engineering High School as well. CREC did something a little different this year. Not only did we recognize one Distinguished Service Award winner, but we also established a Distinguished Paraprofessional and Child Care Worker Award. CREC is very fortunate to have wonderful staff, support staff that help in the schools and in the programs, and we wanted to recognize those folks as well.
Sandra Maria.
So the first Distinguished Paraprofessional Award winner is from Soundbridge, Maria McQueenie.
We have a great team. Maria gets along very well with everyone, and she's very helpful to all of the teachers in any way that we need her to be, in terms of being a resource for science or, you know, helping us out with preparing things or working with students.
Maria has a great sense of humor. High school students can be, by turns, exasperating and infuriating, and funny. And Maria's sense of humor enables me to see the funny part and keep my balance as I go through the day, and I'm a better educator because of that.
When Maria's working with a student, she considers the whole student instead of just the academic student. She thinks about who they are and where they came from. She develops a really good relationship with a lot of the students, almost grandmotherly.
They're very different, and they have different needs. And often you have to know what those needs are to be able to cue in to how they will learn and study, because they do all, like we all do. You know, you come from different backgrounds, you have different ways of taking on certain issues or problems, and you kind of have to learn what those are so you can help them adapt.
What's really cool about Maria is that she can work with children of any age level because of her really in-depth knowledge of children from preschool right through high school. And she understands where they're coming from. She understands what their challenges are, and she understands how to help them move forward. She's just an incredibly important member of the Soundbridge team, and we're very, very lucky to have her.
Sometimes people say to her, why don't you just retire? And there's no way she's ready to do that because she really would miss the students. Something will happen where the student all of a sudden gets something and it clicks with them, and she says this is what makes it all worth it. She really loves that part of it.
So now, from where I am, I see some of the youngsters that I saw in preschool are now graduating. It's a great way to end your career, is to see the fruition of all the work that you put in up until this time. So even though, you know, it'd be nice to have all this free time in retirement, the reward I get from working with the students and seeing them learn these very difficult subjects that people would think they couldn't learn, and they do, you know, you try to get them to stand on their own, is wonderful for me. I mean, I just, you know, it's not easy, but it's nice to see them progress.
Am I on? Congratulations to the nominees, and especially to Maria and to Sandra. I'd like now to introduce CREC's Deputy Executive Director of Finance and Operations, Mr. Don Walsh.
Good morning. People tell me all the time that CREC employees are relatively upbeat, pumped, psyched. And we all love to hear that about CREC, right? Who wouldn't? I tell those folks that one of the things I really like about CREC is that we seem to make the time to laugh a lot, that we value laughing at work. Not every day, certainly not in every situation. But yes, compared to most workplaces, I know that we at CREC like to laugh, and we appreciate the situations that prompt us to remember that we don't need to take ourselves too seriously. Some examples. There was the time when Bruce, who we refer to as the Supreme Burrito, asked me to talk to a newspaper reporter who wanted to know all about Reggio Emilia. So I told the guy that, as far as I know, Reggio Emilia was a shortstop for the Mets in the 80s. Or the time we concluded that a particular alcohol-free CREC holiday party we threw actually went over like a wake without a casket. Or the time we told the nervous young principal who opened the Public Safety Academy that we wanted him to name the school band Guns and Hoses. Or the time that one of my colleagues actually had a medical emergency and was wheeled out of CREC Central's lobby on one of those gurneys. And I whispered to her gently, "Don't forget to sign out." Or when Bruce decided to put up that inspirational message on our glass doors as you enter CREC Central's lobby, you know, the thing about where dreams and hopes begin and we're all empowered and all that. And I told him it made me feel like I was checking into the Betty Ford Clinic. Stuff like that. Which brings me to our guest this morning, Gina Barreca. Gina Barreca certainly knows the importance of humor. Deemed a feminist humor maven by Ms. Magazine and very, very funny for a woman by Dave Barry, Gina is an accomplished author who has appeared on 2020, 48 Hours, NPR, the BBC, The Today Show, CNN, Joy Behar, and Oprah to discuss gender, power, politics, and humor. Gina writes for the Chronicle of Higher Education. She blogs for Psychology Today. She does a weekly column for the Hartford Courant, a monthly column for Principal Leadership, and she occasionally writes for the Washington Post. With degrees from Dartmouth College, Cambridge University, the City University of New York, she is also a professor of English and feminist theory at the University of Connecticut. We're delighted to have Gina with us this morning. Colleagues, let's extend a warm welcome to Ms. Gina Barreca.
But guns and hoses? Really? That's really sad. And I'm going to use that for something. I've also never been on a stage that looks like it's from hoarders. Isn't this one of those things where an organizer comes in and says, do we need these things? Will you be looking at this again? When was the last time you looked at this? And then the LL Bean section of the whole part is interesting. And then they always have you organize your VHS tapes. So it's very good. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. Thank you so much for letting me be part of this celebration. I consider myself as a colleague. I hope you'll consider me as one as well. You do the hard work because I remember what I was like as a student. And I was never one of those people, and I bet some of you weren't either, that they looked at you and said, that one's going to be a teacher one day. Right? Just like I've lived in Connecticut for 25 years. I've taught at UConn for 25 years this semester. Sort of amazing. 25 years. And after 25 years of living in Connecticut, nobody, and I bet even those of you who've never heard me talk before, nobody has ever come up to me and said, what part of Connecticut did you grow up in? I don't sound like I'm from Connecticut. I don't look like I'm from Connecticut. It has never happened. And I am from Brooklyn, New York, and then Long Island, right? I knew, there's really always somebody. And somebody's going to ask me where I went to school. By the time I left Brooklyn, we were already in high school. I graduated from a huge public high school on Long Island. Now, I was, and maybe like some of you here too, I was the first one in my family ever to graduate from high school in a timely fashion. It was especially not considered something that girls in the family had to do. Because girls in my family got pregnant, then got married, in that order. And when we talk about setting goals, that was really the goal. The goal was not to get knocked up before graduation. That was it. They didn't have them on posters. It wasn't dream, laugh, love. It was don't get knocked up before graduate. That was it, okay? That was really, they were limited expectations, but that was really it. And I was the first one, and neither of my parents graduated from high school. They went to work in 8th grade. My father was Sicilian, my mother was French-Canadian. And in the family, it was considered, working papers were called working papers for a reason. You went to work. You helped the family. As soon as you could contribute, you were expected to help the family. But I had teachers who made all the difference in my life. I had teachers. And teachers made school a safe place. Teachers made school a place where it wasn't bad to be smart, right? Because in my kind of family, and I hear that these families still exist, that for somebody to say, oh, you're smart, was not a compliment, right? Oh, she's a smart one. That was not who you wanted to be. In some neighborhoods, she's very smart is said in a certain tone of voice, right? And like, I did a column recently about how I grew up, there was a very different sort of way of dealing with children when I was growing up. And I'm 50, especially for the women in the audience, I am 55, okay? Women want to know, it's really one of the first things, that women want to know how old the broad in the front of the room is. Men don't really care. I mean, they really don't. She's not, you know, whatever, she's of a certain age, it's fine. And women want to know. Women want to know. We do. They want to know. Actually, I don't care about the age. Is she older than I am? How close to me is she? The other piece of information you need to know, I weigh 154 pounds. That's the other piece of information. And if I had known it was going to be one of these kind of camera things, I would have worn a longer jacket. Because I didn't know the back was going to show. You know, the podium is a very convenient thing, really. But 154 pounds, and that's interesting because women I've spoken to before will come up to me because, as you know, women bond instantly. Right? You've noticed that, because I'm going to talk about communication just a little bit, that men and women communicate differently. I don't know whether that's occurred to you. And so that if I've spoken to groups of women, and it sort of depends on the group I'm talking to and whatever, but women will come up because we are intimate with each other instantly, as I said, and women will come up to me and go, Gina, I've seen you talk 5 times. The last time you were talking, you were in some like a moo-moo outfit. You know, did you lose weight? And I said, I've been the same size since I was 18. And I go, no, you looked very different. You looked very different. So what size are you? And I thought, okay, I'm all about the honesty thing. So I answer honestly. I say, in an Armani, I'm a 12. At Dot's Dress Barn, I'm a 22W.
That is hysterical.
Because women know that the more we spend on our clothes, the smaller the size we are. Men don't have to deal with this. Men don't. Men buy clothes that fit them. You've never heard a guy say, I want to be a 42 short by the holidays. Right? Men go in, they're what they are, they buy something that fits them, they don't care. Women are going, I'm going to make myself a size 6, I'm going to make myself a Sub-Zero, which is a refrigerator, by the way. Not a size, I'm going to make myself this. Like, we tailor ourselves to fit what's out there, as opposed to tailoring what's out there to fit us. And that's what we need to do even as teachers. Right? We don't need, even with all of the stuff in place, and trust me, I'd have to do, again, less heavy lifting than you do at the university. But there's still versions of it, okay? That's why we're colleagues. So we have to work within what fits us versus what fits our students, what fits the system, what makes sure that we're staying within, you know, the perimeters that are set up, the parameters that are set up. I always screw those two up. Whatever those rules are, rules that are set up, and we have to work within that. But you know your students. You know the kid who comes from a family that says, oh, you're the smart one. Like it's an insult. So I wrote this column recently where I was saying I was brought up at 55, I was brought up in a world where it's very different, at least from the upper middle class. Let's talk about class. The upper middle class today, who ask their children, honey, are you happy? Right? And the kids are going, oh, I don't know. I'd really like the new iPod. I don't even know if kids use iPods now. I have no idea. I have 2 stepsons that I helped to raise. We had joint custody. And my 2 stepsons are now at that adorable age where they're both attorneys. And they're so cute at this age. I have to tell you. But, I mean, it was a struggle because, again, with it wasn't easy. When my husband and I got together, he's a few years older than I am, and when we first met, we did what people do before they get married, which is we got divorced. And from other people. And so when we first started to date, we both came with some baggage, and mine was an old alley cat that I had when I was going to graduate school on 42nd Street, which is where my family always thought I'd end up. But that was where the graduate center of the City University was when I was getting my PhD. And so I was living, before I got tenure at UConn, I was living in a Lower East Side apartment. I had an alley cat that I adopted from outside. And so my husband was coming down to visit, who was also just retired from UConn. And he said, you know, if we're going to get serious about each other, you should know I'm allergic to cats. And I said, oh. I said, you have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. I said, I'm keeping the cats. You know, there are compromises we just can't make in life. And sometimes you just need to point out the compromise that you're being asked to make. So I did not come from the family where they're saying, honey, are you happy? I came from a family where they said, are you happy now? That was the only time the phrase, are you happy, was used. It was followed with now, and it was after something horrible happened. Oh, Gina, are you happy now? And I know, I'm sorry. I don't do anything. And so, but school became this alternative. School and the teachers that I had were the place that the only people in the places that sort of encouraged me to look beyond repeating exactly what every other kid in my family had done. And because that's what you see. I mean, that's your natural environment. That's your natural habitat. You don't know anything else, right? If you're raised by zebras, you're looking at zebras. You don't realize that you can be, I don't know, a bird or live in a tent or something. I mean, you don't know these things. I still would never go in a tent. It's not for me. I don't sleep on the ground. It's my relatives were doing that too recently. It really is not something I do. I'm sure nature is very nice, but for me, there's not enough comfortable chairs. And I got an award from the Girl Scouts, the Connecticut Girl Scouts, for storytelling. And I thought the irony of my getting an award from the Girl Scouts was astonishing. Because first of all, we didn't call it storytelling, we called it lying. And I never knew you could get a badge for that. And then I got up to give the acceptance. It was really a great honor. And I said, thank you so much. I said, if I had been a Girl Scout, I would have known that trees had different names, and that there were different kinds of birds, and that I would have known how to set a fire. And they said, we don't call them setting fires. We call it making a fire. We don't call it, I didn't even use the correct verb, but that's how far out of this I was. So there are just things you don't know. But I had a teacher in high school. It was a history teacher. It was a guy who was also like the football assistant coach. It was not like a natural pairing. It was not like a nurturing female teacher, which I also had. But this was like a big guy. He always just called me Bareka. Never called me by my first name. Hey, Bareka. And I was like, yo, Bareka, Dartmouth College is admitting broads. Now, we used those words in 1974. He was not arrested for that. Dartmouth College is admitting broads. He had gone there for a year and failed. And gone elsewhere. But he said, they're admitting broads, you should apply. I said, I don't know. I'm going to go to Queens College, there's an express bus. That was my way of making a college choice, okay? There's an express bus. That's how I figured that's where I go to school. There was no, even the idea of going to college was radical enough. There was a bus, that's where I was going to go. It never occurred to me to apply to anywhere else. He said, Bareka, you should apply. I applied to Dartmouth College. I was talking to Wendy, who's a Dartmouth graduate who's here. And it was 1975 when I started in Hanover. You ever been to Hanover, New Hampshire? It was the whitest place on earth. Okay? In 1975, as a Sicilian, I was a racial group. Okay? All right? They had only admitted like 70 women, all of whom looked like Gwyneth Paltrow. On a good day in 1975, I looked like Janis Joplin. I am walking across the campus. I had never seen Madras before, you know? I'm walking across the campus, and I'm thinking, well, everybody thought, my family thought, my mother died when I was young, so I was sort of raised by my Sicilian aunts, who were every ethnic group has them. They're the women who are 3'2". They weigh 975 pounds. And they all wear floral print dresses at all times. So if a group of them gathered together, it looks like there are ottomans on the floor. Right? You know these women, right? The only thing missing is the button on the top of the head. That's it. They're like on casters, you know. And when I told my aunts, I said, I'm going to go to college in New Hampshire, my Aunt Josephine looked at me and she said, Gina, New Hampshire. And I thought she was worried about the money. I said, I got a scholarship, I got work study, I got loans. I said, New Hampshire. She said, you're pregnant, right? She thought I didn't follow that one piece of advice. And I said, no, I got a scholarship. It's a good school. I said, you're pregnant. I said, no, I'm not. She said, it's okay. It happened to your cousin Elaine. You can always come home. So I'm walking across Dartmouth College in 1975 looking at people from the planet Pepsin and thinking, I got 9 months before anybody expects me back, you know? If you don't understand the joke, ask a health teacher. And I didn't feel comfortable. I never felt comfortable. I wrote a book called Babes in Boyland about my experience there. But what I did learn about education, I mean, it was a place, you know, where there was a big sort of unofficial motto to the college under a picture of Daniel Webster, who was defending the place as a college and didn't want it to become a university. And his fist is in the air, he's giving a lecture, and he says, it may be small, but there are those who love it. And I said clearly what everybody in this room would have said. I walked in and said, that's a funny motto for a boys' college. And all these guys named Chip and Skip and Trace looked at me and said, what do you mean? And I thought, honey, I'm not explaining this joke to you. But it occurred to me that there were a lot of ways that we needed to overturn things that nobody had looked at in 280 years. And that's what teachers do. We overturn old ideas. We open windows. We let air into the room. We change lives every day for better or worse. A teacher has as much power as a surgeon has with a scalpel. Okay? You make those changes in somebody's mind and in somebody's heart. And they will either profit from having met you, or they will be scarred from having met you. And every teacher, every staff member I loved, I made friends, I still do. My best friends were always the administrative staff. They're the people that I felt most comfortable with. The guys who just got the mice out of my office. There's Jim and Sam. They are now like my best friends. They got the mice out of my office. In another culture, I would marry them. I mean, it's just like I'm married now, and there's no such thing as brother husbands. Do you ever notice that? There might be sister wives. There are no brother husbands. That's another talk. But we have more power than we realize. And there are so many times that we feel powerless, right? You feel like, oh man, the bureaucracy, the paperwork, all of the forms I have to fill out, all of the rules, the perimeters, the parameters that I have to stay inside of. What can I do? And then every time, as we've just seen in the videos, and as you know, you make all the difference in the world. Thank you so much for helping me. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Good luck with the tent.
Thank you, Gina. I don't know how to put this back.
Do you know how to put this back? Gina, thank you so much. That was wonderful. As you were talking, Tom and I were in the back thinking about all the great times we had in Colorado with our Kryla team.
Absolutely.
Do you remember when we went to the non-Italian restaurant?
Yeah.
So we go in and we ask, let's order some appetizers. Want appetizers? Sure.
They didn't have any appetizers.
We don't have calamari. We don't have mozzarella sticks. Okay, you're joking. Okay, let's order dinner. Spaghetti meatballs. We ran out of meatballs.
No meatballs.
No
oh,
meatballs.
Well.
So we had a great time laughing about that. And then we go the next day bushwhacking down the mountain with what Karen and Karen call ninja-sized mosquitoes, swatting them the whole time. We had a wonderful time there.
It was a farce that, they say no mosquitoes in the Rockies, but they were huge.
They were like this.
That was pretty funny. But, over here we have something that reminded me of an experience we had
are you?
on the high ropes course.
No, you're not.
Do you remember you and I partnered up with a group of 10 students? You remember you were going to look after me?
Yeah, I remember you saying, I'm really scared of heights, Deb. I'll be okay. I'm like, don't worry, Tom, we can do this. I'll take care of you. And
then what happened?
Soon thereafter, I remember hanging for the roast. Tom! What is a Puerto Rican girl from Brooklyn doing in the mountains of Colorado, hanging 40 feet up in the air? Get me down!
I thought I was pretty good.
You were great.
I took some of my wife's advice, and I said, just breathe, Deb. Just breathe. We'll get you down.
And you did, barely. And we got through it.
Yeah, one of the best parts, though, of working with you in Colorado was getting to know you, a new person from CREC for me, learning about you, learning that you're from New York, that you love heights, and learning the great work that you do in the choice program here at CREC. It reminds me of something that I saw over here.
Did you see something?
Really highlighting some of the rich and interesting history. This photo album I found when I was poking around earlier.
I didn't see this.
Yeah. I mean, some of the dates in here, 1989, 1987, going way back.
Oh, look at this, from the 70s. This is when Open Choice was part of Project Concern. This is so cool. My staff would love to see this. This is amazing. I'd love it.
All right. Well,
and you know what? You can actually learn a little bit more about Open Choice with this video.
Fantastic. Let's take a look.
In the late 1990s, the Capital Region Education Council transitioned Project Concern into its growing list of regional services. The Capital Region Choice Program aimed to work with urban and suburban districts, providing students with diverse racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic backgrounds equal opportunities to receive quality education and to help close the achievement gap.
There were many, many meetings with parents to discuss this transition from Project Concern to Project Choice.
There are a lot of families that became more weary of sending their children into a unknown without the supports.
So when we took over Project Choice, I hired Mary Carroll, who was the director of Project Concern. It helped us address some of this trepidation that parents felt about coming over to CREC. I was very moved by the Hartford parents and their courage in sending their children to suburban schools, to an area totally unknown to them.
CREC has been a real champion for Hartford students attending suburban schools. The whole CREC organization, particularly the Choice Division, helps us make the successful transition for students into our suburban districts.
A lot of children have gone through the Open Choice program and flourished in suburban school districts and went on to great colleges, and they're in the process of making a generational jump with regard to establishing families. And in 2 generations or 3 generations from now, Open Choice will have been a critical factor in the history of that family, for where that family finds themselves, quality of education, quality of life, quality of individuals.
It's easy to educate a child who is a square peg for a square hole. It's a different thing when you're talking about a round peg. and we have round peg children. I believe CREC does more than care for these children. I think they really care that these children get educated.
Now joining us to speak about CREC's Teacher of the Year, please give a warm welcome to CREC's Deputy Executive Director and Superintendent of Schools, Denise Scallucci, joined by Bruce Douglas.
Good morning. Oh my God, Gina. Totally. I'm Bensonhurst. I saw you there. I saw you. You see, what happened to me was I crossed the state line, and then all of a sudden, I started talking like this. I wear Madras. I decided to share a little slice of my heart with you today, so bear with me in the change of pace on the remarks. My teacher thinks I'm special. It comes as no surprise. I know she thinks I'm special because I see it in her eyes. She tells me all about herself, her family, friends, and dreams. I know she thinks I'm special because she trusts me with those things. My teacher takes her hand in mine and guides me on my way. She knows I'll read in my own time, though maybe not today. She says I have potential. She sees the things that others don't. She sees the things that I will do and not the things I won't. My teacher thinks I'm special, unique, and very bright. A shining star in my own way. Because of her, I know she's right. That poem has great significance for me because it was given to me by my mother on my very first day of teaching. And I hadn't slept the whole night. You know those jitters, we all have them now. And so it was probably 4 o'clock in the morning when I was leaving the house because I wouldn't want to be late. And she heard me settling down the stairs and she called me. So you know that you hear that, Denise Marie? So I stopped. And she handed me this poem. And she said, reach in your heart, really deep down, and I challenge you to be that teacher. I challenge you to be the teacher that children speak of. I challenge you to be the teacher who affects lives. And if you can be that teacher, then you will have done great work. And every day, as you cross the threshold of that classroom, measure yourself against that teacher. And so for many, many years, this poem in the frame that she gave me hung next to the side of my front classroom door. And the days when it's tough, and the days when you know you didn't nail that lesson, you didn't reach that child, I would look to that poem and to my mother for that inspiration. And so this powerful teaching force that sits before us, collectively, we do that. Collectively, we embody everything about the teacher in that poem. The elimination of the achievement gap. We scoff at that. We think like, yeah, and it could have been higher. 95% of the kids were at goal. There were 5 more percentage points. And so we dig down deep and we see, who did we miss? Who was it that didn't reach that? The graduation at Polaris. Students that have been tossed to the side by society stood up in their caps and gowns and were introduced by teachers one by one. That teacher in that poem, each one of you connected in a special way with each student. And as he and she crossed the threshold of the stage, they looked you in the eyes. So many of them knocked you down with hugs. That's who we are. That's what we do. And that is so incredibly special. And I feel at this moment in my life to be privileged to be with you as a part of this team. I thank you so much. I thank you for accepting me. I thank you for being with me. And I thank you for leading the way. Thank you. You are amazing. You are amazing. This year, there were 14 teachers selected for nominees for Teacher of the Year, selected by you, their peers, each school. They're honored today for providing the high level of service to the children and families in the Capital Region. At this time, I ask you to celebrate our teachers as they are called to the stage. Congratulations.
The 2012 Teacher of the Year nominees: Michelle Reveruzzi White, International Magnet School for Global Citizenship; Niani Battle, Museum Academy; Melissa Hickey, Reggio Magnet School of the Arts; Janine Chapdelaine, University of Hartford Magnet School; Bernadette Perkins, Montessori Magnet School; Diane Marcus, Glastonbury East Hartford Elementary Magnet School; Nitty Lindsay, Two Rivers Magnet Middle School; Jane Callery, Medical Professions and Teacher Preparation Academy; Kevin Zaluki, Public Safety Academy; Carolina Jaseski, Metropolitan Learning Center; Melanie Guerin, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts; Kara Quinn, Academy of Aerospace and Engineering; Michelle Karras, Hartford Juvenile Detention Center; Diane Nelson, Soundbridge. The 2012 Teacher of the Year nominees:
As you can see from your program, the Teacher of the Year Award has a long history of recognizing the most distinguished educators at CREC for their unbelievable accomplishments in the classroom. This year, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to your 2012 CREC Teacher of the Year, Mrs. Janine Chapdelaine from the University of Hartford Magnet School.
Janine is an exceptional teacher because she accepts all children where they are and identifies what is unique about them and really tries to connect with the child and their family and really involves the family in propelling them to their next level.
Janine definitely just brought out the best in him and understood him and above all loved him. And she's like that with every single child. They absolutely adore her, and you can see it every day when you walk in that classroom.
Two key ingredients that I found to be successful in my classroom are providing routine and structure and building relationship with each child. The activities might be different, but the routine stays the same so that the children trust it and know what's coming next and can kind of relax into that. When they do that, they can open up and be more of who they are. I think once they hear me really listening to who they are and noticing who they are, they open up more, they take more academic risks, and they learn more because of it.
She just individualizes every single child that comes her way, and I just find that amazing because every child is so different, and she just has a way of touching each child in a way that is just remarkable.
One of her greatest assets is that she really teaches to the whole child. She nurtures every aspect of the child. She plans for their academic success, but she also believes in nurturing their social emotional development as well.
I think a lot of times we pay attention to the children who act out or to the real gifted children who are showing us their stuff just by being themselves. We have to remind ourselves to pay attention to the people who are just quietly staying under the radar and maybe not taking risks. When I see that child, I really try to build a quiet, slow relationship. And it's almost like planting a seed and nurturing it every day, watering it, giving it just the right amount of light, not overdoing anything. And as the child's getting more comfortable, little challenges. But it's really important to me to make sure that every child in the room, even the ones that you might not be hearing from, are being pulled out and being challenged and encouraged to be the best that they can be.
When she talks about what we do as a team, those are the words that she uses, we. She's very team-oriented. She always makes sure to acknowledge everyone, and this is why it's so great that she's being acknowledged, because she does deserve it.
Janine is such a joyful teacher. When you think about a student's first experience with school at 2.5 years old and the excitement that the child has and the family has, and then you meet Janine and all of that dissipates, and it's the most beautiful experience that a child can have is to be in her classroom. And she sets children up for success, for lifelong success in school, because she helps them to believe in themselves, to discover new knowledge, to explore themselves and the world around them. And she exemplifies what a CREC teacher is. And the fact that the committee recognized the importance of a preschool foundation in honoring Janine with Teacher of the Year speaks to the importance of a preschool education and how that can set students up for long-term success.
Congratulations to me. Throughout the year, CREC has many ways of celebrating the amazing work of CREC staff. The Manager of the Year Award is one of the ways that we do that. The Manager of the Year Award is awarded to a person who exemplifies CREC's core values of trust, leadership, diversity, quality, and collaboration on a consistent basis.
These individuals are nominated for demonstrating compassion and kindness in the workplace, an entrepreneurial spirit, for their excellent management skills and providing a clear direction and support to their employees, for inspiring and motivating employees, and for exemplifying excellent customer service. This year, CREC recognized 4 exceptional managers of the year, and they are acknowledged in the lobby and on the screen. Can this year's managers of the year please stand so we can congratulate you and thank you with a round of applause.
In 2011-12, CREC recognized the need to have a talent management strategy to facilitate leadership development. In order to meet this need, CREC developed the Internal Leadership Development Program. This year, we celebrate our first graduating class. These dynamic individuals participate in discussions, experiential activities, and personal assessment. They were exposed to topic-focused articles and books that highlight real people finding real solutions to real problems. In addition, the program offered the opportunity to be exposed to leadership issues and to broaden their understanding of CREC through personal engagement with various CREC leaders.
The CREC Internal Professional Development Program is a talent management strategy to facilitate leadership development by offering experiential training and the tools to develop leadership skills. The program is available to non-certified CREC staff in the support staff or professional job classification. At this time, we would like to ask the first graduating class of the Internal Leadership Development Program to stand. And can we please applaud these leaders in their success?
The CREC Shining Star program is another opportunity for us to recognize the amazing employees we have at CREC. The program began in October 2007, and it was a way to recognize individuals through the year that exemplified CREC's core values through their service, teamwork, achievement, and respect for others.
These are individuals whose fellow colleagues have nominated them to acknowledge their efforts for going above and beyond their day-to-day duties. Talented and dedicated employees like you are the reason CREC programs and schools so successfully serve the students and families of the Capital Region. This year's Shining Stars are acknowledged in the lobby and on the screen. Can this year's Shining Stars please stand, and let's applaud these extraordinary individuals.
congratulations to everyone. Tom, I just wanted to say what a great morning it has been.
Absolutely.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's been filled with awards, recognitions, and memories from 46 years of CREC's history. Feels like we've only just begun.
We've only just begun. What are we going to do with all this great stuff?
I don't know. I did notice this. It looks like an old prop, perhaps, from the Arts Academy. This trunk.
Oh, you know what? I have an idea.
I have an idea.
What's your idea? Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I don't know. I know I'm thinking what I'm thinking.
Okay. Time capsule?
Time capsule. What do you think? CREC's going to be 50 years old soon.
We should make a time capsule for the 50th birthday. It's a great idea.
It might be a good way, too,
Let's
to
put
clean up
all this stuff in here.
some of the hoarding in the CREC basement, too.
I'm sure Reggie and Ed would be happy. Let's start putting all this stuff away. Let's see what we got here. You know what? Let me see. What is
do you
that?
have there?
Oh, we haven't seen this yet. Oh, must be another Arts Academy prop.
A Polaroid camera.
Polaroid. Does anybody remember Polaroid? Let's see if this works.
Do you think it... I don't even know if you can get Polaroid film anymore.
You know what? Oh, there's a light. Looks
There's a
like it
light.
works.
You
know
know
what?
This is FallStaff 46.
4 years from the 50th anniversary.
We came up with this brilliant idea of a time capsule with our guests of honor.
You know what? The only thing that's missing in this time capsule, if we put all this in, is all of you, the great people that work for CREC. What do you think if we take a picture of you guys and put you in the time capsule? Well, let's hope this works.
All right.
Okay. You
Give it a
guys want to
shot.
say cheese? Come on. 1, 2, 3. Did it work?
Ooh.
Ooh,
You know what you got to do with this, right?
What's that, Tom?
I think you got to shake it.
Oh, yeah.
Shake it.
Hold on.
Shake it like a polo. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to capture that moment.
Actually, you do have to. It is a Polaroid. But, oh man.
I don't want to stop you
what do you
from
think?
embarrassing yourself.
Thank
oh,
you.
Picture's coming out great. We got to wait for it to expose a little. Let's write on it. Do you have a pen?
No, but what should we write on it?
FallStaff 46.
46. We'll
and
add
the
it to the
amazing
trunk.
people that work at CREC.
All right.
Let's see. You know what, Tom? There's also. There you go. Look at it. Here it is.
Oh yes, it came
looks
out.
awesome.
Fantastic.
You guys look great.
While we pack this up, why don't you take a look at a video illustrating some of the great work CREC employees have done over the years.
Implementing the vision of helping all students to achieve at high levels has and always will be at the core of CREC's work. Since its earliest days, CREC has relied on the skills of its most valuable asset, its employees, to fulfill that vision.
I am really fortunate at this point in my career to work with people like this. Every day, every week at CREC, someone inspires me. I'm just swept off my feet by something that happens in one of our programs.
I've been impressed throughout my years of association with CREC at how they can scan the environment and then they can figure out what we need. And the fact is that they can turn on a dime. And they stand ready with the solutions for us, the talent, the resources, and it's just been really a great partnership.
The range of talent and expertise the organization has is kind of this very wide-ranging think tank.
It's just nice to see all the different things that we've been able to accomplish with our students, how far we've been able to bring them along as a result of our sticking closely to our mission.
When you have a group of individuals who all are for the same mission and have that drive and really have a sincere compassion and want to do whatever they can to help the community and our students, then it makes us such a great team and it makes us such a wonderful organization to work for.
CREC is still a great place to work. I think the fact of coming to work, we're out to help the kids. All the staff, no matter what we do, we're all helping each other. We're all helping each other contribute to making the child's education here an event that they can treasure.
I enjoy working at River Street. I've been with them for 23 years, and we do good things for kids. It's the dedication of the staff to the parents and the students.
CREC has
done a great job with the children here. We have kids that have gone above and beyond their growth and what was expected of them. When my sister was born, they told us that she would never walk and that she would never talk. And being in the River Street School, my sister says a few words, she's able to walk, she's able to feed herself, and she had developed because of the love and care here at River Street School.
I really enjoy working with my colleague, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing, so that's one of the reasons that I'm here for 35 years. When you like what you're doing, you don't see time flies. I used to work in a small room with little kids. One of the jobs that I had to do was going through a tunnel. Well, one of the times that I went through the tunnel, I got stuck on the tunnel. That time, Jan Allison was the director of CREC, and guess who showed up? Sure enough, here he is, taking his jacket off, trying to get in the tunnel. But that was the way I met the director of CREC, and we became very good friends.
One of the things about working at CREC is that you meet so many interesting people, and you form very good friendships and bonds. And John Allison used to be the director. When he still comes in, we still go over and give him a hug, and and that's why he comes in so often, he tells us, because he gets lots of hugs.
It's a daily process of trying to see that we do better than the day before in terms of what we do with students. I don't know what will be in place in 5 years, other than we'll still be here 5 years from now. We'll be here 10 years from now. We'll be here 20 years from now.
The one thing that is predominant in the culture of CREC is that all students can achieve. They live by that motto. I always tell CREC folks that they make the vision come alive. If there's not a mechanism in place to make a dream the reality, you're going nowhere. To me, CREC is that mechanism. It has made a dream the reality.
Now, to help us further celebrate the wonderful employees of CREC, please welcome back to stage Don Walsh and Bruce Douglas, joined by CREC's Director of Human Resources, Regina Terrell.
We have just seen highlights of what makes CREC so great. It's the people. Without our wonderful staff, the successful agency would not have been distinguished a top workplace. Congratulations to you all for that distinguished honor. Each year we recognize staff who have worked at CREC for 10, 20, 25, 30, 35, and even more years of service. We celebrate our longevity and thank you for your commitment to our mission and to the children and families of our region and of our state. At this time, we will read the longevity recipients in each category. We ask that when your name is called, please join us on stage to accept your gift, and then please carefully exit toward the opposite side of the stage, and we will take photos at the conclusion of FallStaff. And now, in recognition of 10 years of service, we present the Longevity Award to David Adamson, Montessori Magnet School. Suzanne Bailey Gates, River Street School. Susan Baxter, University of Hartford Magnet School. Kathleen Bell, Soundbridge. Wanda Broden, Metropolitan Learning Center. Jane Callery, Medical Professions and Teacher Preparation Academy. Ann Chase, River Street School. Kellyanne Clark, Soundbridge. Thank you. David Cawthorn, School Construction. Hector DeLeon, River Street School. Laura Deutsch, University of Hartford Magnet School. Susan DuPont, River Street School. Lisa Dwyer, River Street School. Simon Elsinger, Business Services. David Fresk, School Construction. Raymond Fragio, Metropolitan Learning Center. Tracy Gagnon, Glastonbury Elementary, East Hartford Elementary Magnet School. Michelle Garbart, Glastonbury East Hartford Elementary Magnet School. Sandra Garcia, Greater Hartford Academy of Math and Science. Nancy Gefkin, Metropolitan Learning Center.
Crystal Gibbs, University of Hartford Magnet School. Amelia Hall, River Street School. Karen Hancock, Integrated Program Model. Kurt Haddam, Technology Services. Nikisha Hill, River Street School. Joan Hurley, University of Hartford Magnet School. Carol Kirkin, Student Services and Magnet Schools. Lester Labatek, Two Rivers Magnet Middle School. Antonella Macaron, Metropolitan Learning Center. Lorraine Morero, Glastonbury East Hartford Elementary Magnet School. Patricia Martinek, Birth to 3.
Congratulations.
Carmen Martinez, Birth to 3. Jennifer Mazars, River Street School. Priscilla Malishnig, Birth to 3. Natasha Miles, Greater Hartford Academy of Arts. Susan Morin, River Street School. Christy Mund, River Street School. Christopher Murphy, Technology Services. Lisa Nair, River Street School. Stephen Patterson, River Street School. William Petrusevitz, Metropolitan Learning Center. Gregory Rinaldi, Metropolitan Learning Center. Kathleen Rando, Quality and Diversity. Sandra Rohn, River Street School. Mary Risby, Business Services. Stacy Rao, Metropolitan Learning Center. Tina Ruggiero, Human Resources. Yvonne Sanchez, River Street School. Joanne Sansabrino, Soundbridge. Janet Scaldone, Technical Assistance and Brokering Services. Christine Samos, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts. Maureen Spinacci, University of Hartford Magnet School. Karen Stedman, Metropolitan Learning Center. Martha Stepanowski, Two Rivers Magnet Middle School. Yours truly, Regina Terrell, Human Resources. Carolyn Trax, Metropolitan Learning Center. Andrew Tripp, Metropolitan Learning Center. Chinma Uche, Greater Hartford Academy of Math and Science, Aerospace and Engineering High School. Paula Valley, River Street School. Iris Van Reinbach, Greater Hartford Academy of the Arts. Dennis Warner, River Street School. And last but not least, for 10 years of service, Diane Watson, Integrated Program Model. Let's congratulate our people with 10 years of service. For 20 years of service, Stacy Harris Birdsong, River Street School. Leslie Miraz, Glastonbury East Hartford Elementary Magnet School. Rosemary Sacamandi, Integrated Program Model. Joyce Shell, River Street School. Please congratulate our employees with 20 years of service. And now for 25 years of service, Lydia Evangelinos, the John J. Allison Jr. Polaris Center. Barbara Hall, Integrated Program Model. John Kaplan, River Street School. For 30 years of service, Marion Radine, Soundbridge. Celebrating 35 years of service with CREC, Suzanne Klesch, Business Services.
Wow.
Tom Parvinsky, River Street School.
Thanks, they're all done.
Carlos Perez, River Street School. John Tyner, River Street School. And certainly not least, Kathy Wasso, River Street School. And one last time, can we award all of our longevity and recipients with an applause? Thank you.
Congratulations to everyone. It has been a wonderful morning, and I'd like to thank my co-MC and all of you for having us here today. We hope that you've had a good time and you've enjoyed this wonderful program that we put together for you.
Yes. Thank you very much. I just noticed, Deb, I think these look better here than on the screen. I don't know.
I still like them.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. Have a great year. We'd ask that you please remain seated until the very end of the program. And if we can ask all of the awardees at the end of the program to come up to the stage so we can get one group photo of everyone.
Great. Now have a wonderful year, and just before we end, we have our esteemed leader, Bruce Douglas.
Bruce?
Please give a warm welcome to our Executive Director, who has led CREC through its tremendous growth and success for the past 10 years, Dr. Bruce Douglas.
That was my father. All right, so we're ahead of schedule, and you'll be pleased to know while I was sitting over there, I scratched out 3 pages of the ending speech, okay? There you go, good. So, I have to change glasses. The exceptional achievements of our various CREC divisions, our staff, our teachers, in early childhood programs, magnet schools, special education, adult education, and student services have been nothing short of remarkable this year. In many of our magnet schools, we've significantly closed the achievement gap or completely eliminated it. I want to recognize the teachers and the paraprofessionals, the secretarial staff, the custodians, the security guards, the bus drivers, the monitors, and the leaders of those schools for your remarkable achievement. We're extremely proud of you. Congratulations. You have proven and substantiated that gains can be made over the course of a period of time, and you've reset the bar for expectations and possibilities not only for CREC, but for the entire state of Connecticut. I want to thank our operations and school facilities divisions for their determination and great work in getting us ready for the opening of school. Everyone needs to know that your work is truly appreciated. Thank you. I want to recognize and thank the diligence and tenacity of our school transportation team. This past year, this year, our transportation team will transport over 10,000 students to 180 schools in 43 towns over 1,100 square miles a day. It's incredible. Say your Hail Marys and Our Fathers for us, please, on transportation. Okay. Furthermore, we need to celebrate the work of technology services, business services, and human resources, the backbone of CREC, for the extra effort and tenacity to get the job done no matter what it takes. Human Resources Division, with no additional staff, enrolled and oriented several hundred employees this year. I believe it's approximately 300. All early signs indicate that we continue to recruit the type of committed and capable individuals like you here in this room. The staff of HR and payroll have worked long hours with no additional staff to process all of the new hires. I want to commend you for that. Thank you so much. Our budget grew from $270 million last year to $395 million effective July 1. Part of that is school construction money that we received from the state for the 10 schools that we're going to be constructing in the next few years. I want to express my sincere and heartfelt thanks and admiration for everybody on the school construction team. We built out almost 10 sites during this summer, and we opened up 3 magnet schools. Now, I just want to say, come the end of September, we're going to look back on that and say, that was absolutely incredible. We don't have time to celebrate that right now, but I do want to commend everybody on the great work that you've done. I hope that all of our teachers who are working in those schools, all of our staff that are working in those schools, appreciate the hard work that our school construction team and our facilities and our IT staff have put into trying to get those facilities ready for you. I want to thank you all so much for the wonderful work that you did. As I'm sure many of you know, this will be a particularly challenging year for the state of Connecticut and our member districts because we're still facing significant budget shortfalls. The situation will certainly have an impact on us here in CREC. Yet I contend that together we will thrive as we have in the face of so many other challenges. One of CREC's greatest strengths is the diversity of the people who work here, the divergence in our thinking, our different interests, the great breadth and depth and variety of knowledge that all of us bring to this organization. When we bring these attributes together with our enthusiasm and our professionalism and your tenacity and our collegiality and our friendship, there is no obstacle that we cannot overcome. Every day at work, I ask myself, do I belong in this room? Last year, I asked all of you here, do you belong in the room? I ask you today, do you belong in the room? Look around you. You are among a most powerful group of individuals in possession of great intellect and capacity. However, the determining factor that allows us to belong in the room is the intense commitment we all share in the mission of CREC, serving the best interest of children and families through service to our partnering school districts. Remember, the single most important determining factor in student success is the intense commitment of the teacher, the collective school, and the school district to take and do whatever it takes for as long as it takes. CREC's vision that every student and child and adult can achieve at high levels and therefore must have access to all the educational resources in the region is a noble commitment, for it sets a high standard for us and demands of us only the highest quality of service and equity. In addition to our vision, we have the core values that embody this organization and the personal attributes of the CREC staff. They are courage, trust, leadership, diversity, quality of service, and collaboration. Moreover, we adhere to the attributes of the servant leadership model: bottom-up innovation and top-down facilitation, and the think tank mentality for continuous improvement. Characteristics like trust and honesty and compassion are at the heart of our being. Yet there's other attributes that are important too. They're equally important in our continued success. Those are competitiveness, assertiveness, persistence, diligence, and discipline. These values are character attributes, and they've made us very successful. Over the past few years in particular, we've had some of the best years in our history in terms of the delivery of CREC services, but we must acknowledge that our success is also our greatest threat. For success can breed complacency, arrogance, and valuing the status or stagnant quo. As the new year begins, I challenge everyone here to approach his or her work with a renewed energy and commitment. To begin today, to be better today than you were yesterday and better tomorrow than you are today. Empathize with your colleagues in the organization. Celebrate our successes and help us to overcome our shortcomings. So going forward, I want to express my admiration and appreciation for all of the Longevity Award recipients, to our Distinguished Service Award winners, Sandra Garcia, Maria McQueenie, and our Teacher of the Year, Janine Chapdelaney. These individuals exemplify what CREC is all about. I want to thank Deb Barrero and Tom Brudnitsky, our Outward Bound staff. For the great job that they did. I want to express my admiration for Tom for wearing his man-prees. Moreover, I want to commend Ora Alvarado and her entire FallStaff planning team. Would the entire team please stand? Would you all stand to be recognized? Good. And a huge thank you to our lead sponsor, ORNL, and all of our sponsors and vendors who support the success of today's event. We couldn't have done it without you. Thank you so much. Now, when I was a teacher, I used to pay attention to who sat in the back of the room. And usually when my lesson was completing, I would speak specifically to the back of the room so they knew what the assignment was going to be for tomorrow. So, for everyone in the back of the room, I would like you to ask you to join with me as a mentor for a CREC student. We need 50 volunteers to serve as partners with CREC in the Nutmeg Big Brothers and Big Sisters program. We will be working with students who are challenged at the Public Safety Academy and some of our other schools. I would like you to join with me. I'm going to be volunteering on Wednesdays to help an individual student to try to be a significant adult in his life or her life and help him or her overcome the challenges that will inhibit them from being successful in school and going on to higher education. So, if you have the inclination, and the intense commitment, I encourage you to please join with me in working with Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Remember, our mantra is to serve the best interest of all children and families. Our ethos is manifested in the intense commitment to eliminate the disparity of opportunities among children and families and adults and eliminate the so-called achievement and social economic gap. As always, I urge all of you here today to be active, to be involved, and continue to grow and learn. Please strive for a balanced life that recognizes the importance of work and play and time for friends and loved ones and time for reflection and spiritual renewal. Above all, know that your work here is highly valued and truly does make a difference in the lives and the futures of our families and the children of the Capital Region and beyond. So I leave you with this quote. You cannot stay on the summit forever. You have to come down again. So why bother in the first place? Just this. What is above knows, and what is below does not know. But what is below does not know what is above. One climbs, one sees. One descends, and one sees no longer, but one has seen. There is an art of conducting oneself in the lower regions. When one can no longer see, one can at least know and aspire to summit again. So remember, last year's excellence is this year's good. We can and must do even better. Thank you all so much, and best wishes for a wonderful year.